So welcome to the first official episode of Life Stripes Unplugged with Duke Robinson. I am your host, and today we have Andrea Lyte, a very special designer for 75th and Bespoke. Thank you for
Hey
joining
guys.
us, Andrea. We also got Anthony. Anthony is a world-class trainer, and he also is a videographer, man. And this man, he will inspire you to eat healthy and train right. Thank you for joining us, Anthony.
Thank you so much, Duke. You're making a black guy turn red here. Stop.
Please.
Please.
Last but not least, we've got Jessica Myrie, and she is an actress, a model. You may have seen her on many commercials and mini-series, and she is a wonderful actress that is joining us. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks. You're gonna make me blush now.
That's my job. That's my job.
He's a charmer. He's a charmer.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm gonna get down with it, man. I mean, I saw a video, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I saw this video where a young black man was gunned down on February 23rd of this year, and we're just really talking about it now in May. And as you know, I mean, it's not summer yet, but we'll say it's a nice cold spring up here in Toronto. But that topic was very hot for us, and I just want to shed some light on that the two men that were responsible for killing him. Just recently, and that was, I believe it was May 7th, they were captured and arrested for murder. But yet this thing, it tends to still be happening, and it almost feels like black people are, it's almost a genocide for us. And I just want to get together with you guys to get your take on that. So how are you guys feeling about that, and what are your takes on this type of thing happening to black people still in America?
To be honest with you, I haven't watched the video, and I know it's gonna seem shocking. I chose not to watch it, because I'm sick of seeing ourselves portrayed in that light in the media, everywhere, movies. You know, like it's like we're always being portrayed as people of slavery, criminals being gunned down. I'm just tired of seeing it. It's not that I'm ignorant to the fact of it. It's just like, I just want to see how what can I do to try and be a better person in this world, because talking about it and not doing anything isn't going to help. Exactly. That's how I see it. And watching the video, it happened 2 months ago, and we're now watching it. And actually, I came to find out that the reason why it was put out from a lawyer, the two accused, the two people who killed him. It was the lawyer's friend that put it out, because he wanted to see that they were defending themselves or something.
Right. So he posted the video in hopes of it basically clearing those two gentlemen that gunned down Ahmaud Arbrey, to see if that would clear their names. But what that created was a worldwide web of confusion and hate and anger by the black community, because they didn't understand why these two men were still at home sleeping in their bed and eating steak for dinner while this man is, in his grave somewhere 2 months later. So, I mean, for me, that it makes me upset. And I did see the video. I saw the entire video, and I was confused as to why. Like, to be honest with you, at first I thought it happened like last week or sometime in the week. I was shocked to find out that it happened back in February. So how does that make you feel, Anthony?
All right. So, my opinion is going to be very different from a lot of people in this situation, right? But when I first heard the story, right, and I watched the video, right? Now, I'm a person like this. I never have a knee-jerk reaction to everything, right? I'm a very observant and laid-back, sit-back person. Let me unfold. Let me see what's going to happen during this time, coming days, coming weeks, right? And when I saw the headlines, black jogger getting gunned down by two white guys in the truck, I'm like, is this what really happened? That's what I asked myself first of all, right? And then situation, right? And I said to myself, I'm like, that to me sounds like two white guys be like, hey, Billy, you see that black guy over there? I'm gonna kill him. You ready, Tom? Yeah, let's get him. That's how it sounds to me when I read that title, right? And to me, it doesn't make sense. So I'm like, let me wait and sit back, right? Now, regardless of the situation, right? I saw the video, right? And what confused me when I first saw it, because the guy filming was following him, right? And then you saw the two guys there with the truck. And then you could see, he could clearly, you can see the guy armed, right, in the situation. Now about you, right? But I'm not going to run around the truck towards these guys. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm going to run to my left, run to my right, left or right, whatever you see, or backwards, right? Unless you're in an alley or something where you only can, you know what I mean? So to me, that alone didn't make sense. Now, should he have been murdered and killed? Hell to the no, right? Of course not, right, in the situation, right? Now, some new evidence came out, right? Because the thing is that there were police reports about some guy going to a house. I don't know if you heard about these reports, right? A house that's being renovated, right? So I said to myself, okay, is it like there's an empty shell? Is it just maybe the insides be fixed? Whatever the case is, right? Yeah. So they heard that, and they heard that some guy is, going there randomly with the cases. So I'm like, okay, it's weird. And then now, a new video came out today that, to be honest with you, debunks the whole jogging situation. Because what the video shows, and it's going on media right now, obviously not CNN and everything, of course not there, right? Is that you see him actually walking to the house, taking a pause, looking left, looking right, then goes into the house, right? First of all, what are you doing there, right? Why are you trespassing on his property, right? Now, what happened now, new evidence came out that he's been visiting the property multiple times, night footage, right? So I'm like, okay, 1 + 1 doesn't add up to 2 here, right? And then now, this is what happened now, when he comes out the house, that same day he got shot, he stops, someone across the street sees him, he starts running, right? So I'm like, okay, something doesn't make sense here, right? First of all, why you're running from the place, right? Someone saw you do something, you're caught, you're gonna run, right, in the situation, right? Now, in Georgia law, you can do citizen's arrest, right, in this situation, right? Okay, right, exactly. And America's Fifth Amendment or something, or second, they could bear arms.
Their Second Amendment.
Or bear arms, right, or a situation. Now, who's in the wrong too are the 2 white guys. Why would these 2 guys, one with a shotgun, one with a magnum, be trigger happy, right, try to confront this man, right? What do you expect is going to happen? Either going to shoot him or some altercation might happen and you guys fight or whatever the case is, right? These 2 were idiots, right? And now, what I would have done, especially as a white person, I don't know why you would have attempted, knowing the racial tension between now what's been happening lately in years, right? Go chase this man. Why don't you call 911 if you see someone running? Why don't you have the authority look into it? Why you are so trigger happy to go chase this man, knowing some altercation could happen, right? And now you kill this man, right, in this situation. Whether he came and grabbed the gun or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? You killed this guy who was unarmed, right, in the situation. He shouldn't have died. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this, right? I'm going to finish my point very quickly here, right? Is that why did he put himself in this situation, right? Why? In America, you don't know who's at the house. What if the owner is there with a gun, right? Your owner pick up your tools, whatever the case is. You see someone in your house looking around. What do you think might happen? You might grab a bat, might have your gun on you, whatever the case is, right? Right? And this is my issue. This is why I didn't have a knee-jerk reaction to the story, right? In this scenario, because now I'm seeing, well, okay, now it makes sense. Now, my point of view is this. He was wrong for trespassing, right? And whatever the case is, don't be there. You do stupid shit. You play stupid games, you're going to have stupid results and prizes. Let's be honest, right? Growing up, my mom told me, Tony, I don't want to see you here at nighttime. I don't want to see you at this place because she knows trouble's going to be there and just don't go there. You never know, right? I grew up in parts of Montreal where very tough, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to defend the white guys because they shouldn't have taken their arms, even though they have every right to it, and shoot the man. Really? Like, you know what I mean, in this scenario? That's my stance on it, right? This is why when LeBron, it's stupid, I can't stand this guy sometimes, tweeted, oh my God, we can't even jog it every day. I'm like, LeBron, shut up. Like, seriously? Who's going to shoot you? You're acting like we are going around getting shot. They're acting like it's the purge or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? And these knee-jerk reactions, I'm like, guys, as Black people, this is how they control us. They control us with our emotions.
Celebrities are not getting shot.
They're not getting shot. And this is how they control us. They control us with our emotions, our deep emotions, man. And they know how to play that game, right? We're the only people in the States who vote 90% Democrat every single time. They never change a political party, regardless of who's in power. That says something to you. You're following the party, not the person. So anyway, I'm gonna stop right there. I can continue, but y'all
And
next.
this is what it's about. This is what it's about.
I
It's
hear you.
Unplugged, and I want to hear more. Andrea, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts. Well, I don't know the full story, right? So I can't give my full thoughts on it. But there's injustice. Injustice has occurred,
Yeah.
and it's long been occurring.
Mhm.
It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what can we really do as a people? What can we really do? We don't stand together as a people.
Thank you.
Right?
It's
The
interesting.
only
Thank you.
time we stand together
Yeah.
is when situations like this occur,
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
right? So it's heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to the family, but really I'm at a stump myself, because like I said, what do you do?
And that's the question. What do we do? Like, how do we get Black people and our Black communities to band together? Because it's interesting that you said that, because I've had that conversation many times. And I mean, we all live in Canada, so we've got the multicultural. We've got, West Indians, Africans, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Guyanese, St. Vincent, St. Lucia. I can go on, but we all rep where we come from. And then when it comes to coming together, we're like, that person's Trinidadian, or that person's Guyanese, or they're not like us.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So how do we get together? How do we bring ourselves together? What are your thoughts?
I think we need more leaders, and we need more leaders that look like us. We need people that are in powerful positions, and there's not enough. And especially here, I've noticed, like, even the government, you don't see too many minorities. And like, how can you make change when there's not enough people who are in the 1%? There are white people that are controlling how we live, how our society is built. So I feel the same way that you do, as far as like, what can we do? And how I see that, I can't really do much, especially with the situation. But what I can do as an individual is try and better myself and become educated, and also become a leader, so I could eventually mentor someone either by using my platform, or be in a position that I can help others by, getting involved in something community based. And that's the problem. We're not going into our communities and making them better. There's a lot of other cultures, that really emphasize on trying to build up their youth, and we're not doing enough of that. And that's what is happening. It all starts from there. And that's why, like, for me, I look at it like, how can I become a better person? And how can now I can try and help others? Because if we're not helping others, what really are we doing? So that's how I see it. I think everybody should do their part in trying to become better. And another thing too is generational wealth. A lot of us come from these backgrounds that, like, we don't really have much. And then after, like, we can't really defend ourselves. Like, if the roles are changed and it was a white man jogging, or a white man looking suspicious, I'm sure that it wouldn't take 2 months for the white community to hear about that. It would happen right away.
Yeah.
Do you think if it was a white man jogging, that those two men would have gunned him down, regardless if he was coming out of that property just looking at it, or trespassing on that
No
property?
way. No.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
I definitely would definitely say this for sure, right? That I would say definitely not as well, because I don't know if their community is mainly white, or mainly, I don't know what the situation is there in terms of the population, right? More white, more Black, whatever the case is, right? But I think these two white guys were ignorant to us. Oh, a Black guy, must mean a problem, it must mean he's danger or something, right? And have this racist look towards it, and chased him down and gunned him. Because as I mentioned before, right, his death should not have happened. It really, I felt it, man. I felt it, regardless of the situation, right? And to what Jessica was saying earlier, that community, right? I believe we should definitely be building our community locally, right? Investing into leaders, seeing which one of us can be like, you know what? You see Duke, man, that guy, He's a pretty good guy and everything. He's a good leader. Like he brings good points. Let's see if we can lift him up, lift someone up, something, whatever the case is, right? And build our community, because we don't. The Jews, like for example, Jewish people, man, they stick to themselves hard.
That's exactly what I was referring to when I said
hard. Like they build community centers, they'll build schools, they'll build libraries, right? And they all stick. In Montreal, all the Jews were all one street, all own the duplexes, them, right? They all own that one street. They stick together, man. They know, right? And this is the thing. This is what I tell people all the time. How can we fix the outside problems, right? When our own house is not in order.
Right.
You got
know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't
very good point.
I don't invest myself emotionally in these shootings, right? Because I look at it even with I don't know if you heard about that salon owner in the States, that 20-year-old woman who was a salon owner.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Right, and she got robbed by Black people, right? She called the police, right, and then because she was fearing for her life, right, and then these guys came back, shot her
in the head.
Shot this 20, honestly, I cried, man. I bawled, man. The 20, a strong woman, right? Salon owner, right?
And she had a baby.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And she got shot, you know what I mean? By stealing what weave, expensive weave and wigs from the store. Like, you know what I mean? And what happened now exactly is that people at the store saw the guys, but no one wants to talk. No one wants to talk. Everyone's mum's the word.
Security guard that just got shot too because he wouldn't let the family in without a mask.
Right. And to a quick point there as well too, right? Is that I didn't see no Black Lives Matter when she got shot. I didn't see people post on social media. I didn't see any outrage. I saw no outrage at all. I saw a little vigil at her store, a little 4K reward to find her suspects. That's all I saw, and I'm like, wow, this is sad. We can't even discuss our own problem. No one turns a blind eye, but yet we get so riled up when the white guy shoots us. It's just. You're telling me Ahmaud has more value, life, more attention than she? No, right? It's sad. So continue, but
there's definitely a different dynamic when it comes to another race shooting anyone in the Black community. There's Black on Black crime all the time. You're certainly right about that. There's never an outrage when it's Black on Black crime. But when it's done by another race to us, we constantly want to protest. We want to be all outraged. This is injustice. This should not be happening. But yet crime is crime. And regardless of who commits the crime, they should still be punished.
Exactly.
Regardless of who they are.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But in regards to the injustice for the Black community, and I think why the outrage for Black Lives Matters is because this is something that's been going on for generations and quite some time, and they have just found different ways to execute us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So it's not that it's more acceptable when we do it to ourselves. It's still injustice. We should not be killing ourselves, but I understand where the outrage comes from.
Yeah.
Because say that was someone Black driving the truck and did the shooting. Would we be protesting? I don't know. I don't know if we'd be protesting. I don't know if there would be a big whole. I saw on social media, there was a petition going around. They were asking individuals to sign a petition to have these two men arrested.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Sure.
Now, to have a petition signed for someone to be arrested, it's outrageous.
That's stupid.
You shouldn't have to sign anything for law
Seriously.
enforcement to go ahead.
Yeah. It's true. It's very true.
It's crazy, right?
And 2 months later, it's weird.
Yeah.
Weird to me. That's what I don't understand. Sorry to cut you off, but continue.
That's okay. But I understand the outrage, right? Something's got to be done. And if we need to talk a little bit more about it, if it needs to be recorded more, there needs to be more discussion. So this is open. People are seeing that it's happening. Like I said, personally, I don't know what to do.
Right. And
I have a son that's a Black man, and I worry about him sometimes.
Sure. But I think Andrea, I want to say I think the right thing for us to do is to get on these forums and start talking with people and talking to each other, because I think a lot of the times we see it and we get so desensitized to it, and nobody's really talking about it, right? And like you said, you don't know what to do. I don't know what to do either. And I think, like you guys said earlier, we need more leaders in there, but we can say it, but how are they getting there? And to your point, we haven't cleaned up our own yard yet for us to really put somebody in power. So because as you guys know, as soon as you try to get in power, they're going to find the dirtiest dirt on you to discredit you from getting into power. So we got to start with our youth to make sure that they grow up and they're brought up in a clean manner, that we can get them into power. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's so much the dirt, because realistically, we all have our dirt. So I don't think that's the issue at all. It's just that the individuals above us that are in power, we're not able to maneuver the way we want to, unfortunately.
And that's true. It's true. And it's just that I wish the outrage and the energy can just be channeled in a different way. You know what I mean? I don't see that passion. I don't see that emotion towards building ourselves. And that's what saddens me, because, you know what I mean? Like, I know some very talented Black people. I try to support Black business as much as I can, whether it's a lotion I could buy from someone or Black soap from one person or whatever. I try to always big up my people at all times, right? And why not, right? In that situation. But it's just that I just wish we were more people to that energy and just try to even educate the youth, as you mentioned, at all, because the generation you have to focus on, right? That's coming up at all times, right? You know, and because the way I was raised, it's funny, I was never raised that way about, you know, white people, this and racist. I was never raised that way. My mom never grew me up to have that mentality, right? You know what I mean? She just said, be careful who you with. She's like, be careful who you're with and who you're chilling with, right? Make sure you're not in certain places at certain times, right? And always be aware of your surroundings, right? In a situation. She's like, respect everybody, from white to Black to Chinese, it doesn't matter, right? So I never grew up with that kind of, you know, mentality. Maybe I'm oblivious to certain situations, I don't know, but I just never had any negative altercations with other races, really. I don't know if it's my personality, I don't know if it's just the interaction I had in the past or whatever the case is, but I don't know. I don't know if some people have been in situations because of their attitude towards other people. Maybe they're seeing everything through a racist lens, right? Because of their one experience or two experience that they heard from their brother or cousin or friend. So they have that lens that everything is racist, and even if it isn't racist, it's still labeled racist, right? So that's my concern as well. And how do you get people out of that mentality? Because you can't talk to some of these people. They're just, nope, it's racist. Nope, it's racist. Nope, they're racist. It's like, you sure? But they don't want to hear it. And people like that won't grow individually, right? And it's sad. It saddens me that people have that. They're in that echo chamber, right? They're not hearing different opinions, different experiences.
You were saying the solution and not knowing what the solution, and we were basically getting into, you know, how can we band together? How can we come together as a community and solve some of these issues? Because I'm with you, Andrea. I don't even know what the solution is either these days. I'm seeing far too many Black on Black crime, and then I turn to my left and I look at the U.S. news, and I'm seeing crime over there. And you're right, we don't get together when we're killing each other. As soon as like, a white person kills us, we're like, hey, you know, we like a 1,000,000-man march out there, right?
Yeah.
And I get it, because we've been oppressed for so many years. I still feel that we're still suffering from mental slavery to this day.
Yep.
Big time.
I think that we sit down in a lot of different silos. We look at each other, we judge each other. You know, I feel, and again, this is unplugged. I feel like sometimes I'll be there with an African, and I'll be at a party with Africans, and they're looking at me as a Caribbean, like, yeah, you're not one of us. I'm like, dude, I'm Black. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? You know, and there's a saying in Jamaican saying that, you know, that person too bad mind. You know, we're so bad mind against each other. You know, we're so jealous. We, instead of saying, yo, man, I'm glad that Duke is doing his thing, whatever. Some people they get jealous. Yeah. And right. And this emotion just clouds them. And it's like, wow, this guy's bettering himself. You don't even know if he might even holler at you for something, try to lift you up, nothing. Just try to break this man or woman down. Like, you know what I mean? It's sad. Yo, it's sad. You know what I mean? So as even Andrea mentioned, what is the solution? Do we invest into community centers? Do we build something for ourselves? Like, what is a solution? Even I don't know myself.
I think we need to become leaders amongst ourselves, and that's like what you were saying before, Duke. You know, having more prominent leaders, but I think we as individuals need to become leaders. All of us can do our part. It doesn't mean like you have to go out there and be a politician or be the next president, but you being someone, let's say you know, you're a fitness trainer, Anthony. You can become a fitness trainer that has maybe a platform now you can use to educate maybe other younger boys, or training other younger boys, or training other people to become trainers. And at the same time, you know, maybe educating them on what you know what I mean? Like, you could be taking children out of maybe like an area that they're growing up in, and maybe become a big brother. For me, that's my goal.
Wow.
Right now,
about the same thing.
I can't do much because I'm still developing myself, but I'm also developing myself for the next generation, for the children that I have, or the people that I can help in the future. I'm not going to just sit here and have a platform like some of these people, or, you know, have something that I can now help others with and not do anything with it. Like, there's been times that people have actually reached out to me. Like, I remember one time there was this kid that reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he wanted to know my experience because like I was in school for advertising and marketing communications, and I also had done an internship at Sony Music. So he just seen the experience that I had, and he wanted to just have a conversation and have a coffee with me. I didn't have to do that, but I actually went out of my way and I met with him and I gave him my knowledge. When I did that, something clicked in like my head. Like, I realized this is something that I could eventually do on a more serious basis. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to jump and be, you know, the next motivational speaker. But when I do get to a point that I do have a platform and I do have the resources to help others, I'm going to do it. And it's your responsibility to do so if you do have that. So these celebrities that I see just talking about it and putting a post online, you're not doing anything for anyone. What you need to do is use your platform, use the money you have, try and be a leader that can help others. You can go into a community, like even with Drake, it's sick. I don't, you know what?
Man, I know, yo, trust me. I was gonna talk about the same thing.
Don't slide.
No, I'm just saying, okay. He has this big mansion. You know, what are you doing for the community? What have you done? Have you gone into Jane and Finch? Have you tried to invest in a community center there, or into a program to help these young boys, these young women, to try and educate them on what they can do outside of the life that they know? You know, I'm fortunate that my parents, like, I grew up in a suburban area, but it could have been very different for me because they lived in chalk farm before. So, you know, I could only imagine what certain people are dealing with living in those areas, and, you know, the pressures they face, and, like, you know, they don't have the same opportunities as people. So that's why it's so imperative for us to become leaders amongst ourselves and try to help other people in any way. Every small thing counts. Like, this is kind of small, but like for me, I'm very big on recycling. So I recycle as much as I can. I mean, I do my part. Not everybody does, but I try to, I try to divide all my waste. I try to think more environmentally friendly and doing my part. So you might not make a significant difference in the, well, you will. You might not make a huge difference, but doing something within yourself and within your community, I think, is enough. And if more of us were doing that, there would be a lot of change. And that's why there's other cultures that do that. There's people that come from far countries and look, they like India or China, and they come here and they make something of themselves. I've seen it repeatedly that people are here, they're born here, and they're on welfare, and they're not doing anything to actually better themselves. So that's how I see us making a change. If you're not doing anything to help yourself, you can't help nobody else.
Exactly. And you proved a big point I was going to talk about too, is that, you know, you believe. And so you said recycling, right? It's something that you believe in strongly and passionate about it, right? And who knows, you say that publicly and have a voice, people might follow you because, you know what, you're inspirational, or in other words, you're a role model, right? And I think that's what we need more in our societies, that in our communities, that we need more role models, right? That someone we love to look up to. We need someone who's inspirational, who can motivate, you know, the other person, be like, yo, you know what, Jessica's doing his thing still, and she's pushing hard, she's striving, she's putting up YouTube videos every week or whatever. Like, you know, it motivates people to do something, but you know what, I'm going to be a voice as well too, right? And I think that's what needs to happen amongst ourselves, that we definitely need to motivate each other and be that voice, right? Because we have the platform. There's no excuse.
And I think too, the people that do have the platform, they're using it for their own financial gain. They're not thinking, okay, what should I do now to educate someone on how they can become better, or how can, like, what could I do now to like put out content that people are gonna find inspirational. And there's people that do it, but don't get me wrong, there's a lot of these young kids, they're glorifying these rappers, or glorifying these influencers or YouTubers or whatever, and they're not really doing anything, or they're portraying this lifestyle that these kids think, oh, you know, I could live up to. So we need more people who are actually going to be role models, real individuals that are actually talking to us about real things, rather than just talking to us of how to, you know, get your next car, your chain, drugs, prostitution, and start glorifying that. And like I had mentioned to you, I'd actually mentioned this to you, Duke, and I was talking to my sister about this just recently. Like even the music that we listen to, don't even realize you're being hypnotized to hear this negativity coming from, you know, don't get it wrong. Like, you know, I listen to this music as entertainment, but you have to be very wary of how you're listening to this music, because it is the devil's music at the end of the day, because what they're glorifying is for you to go, you know, be like, go, I don't want to say the words, but you know what I mean? Like they're glorifying drug dealer, use your, you know, or you use your body, huh?
Right?
I'm gonna say he said dance, so I said trap music.
I'm talking more of trap music when they're talking about going out to be there, a drug dealer. Oh, you me get like the trap house or whatever. If kids don't know how to distinguish what's real and what's not real, and then after they go and kill somebody, or they go get locked up, and I used to always hear like the old folk always talk like that. Maybe it's because I'm getting old, or maybe it's because I'm more like wiser and more woke now. But now I understand when they say it's the devil's music. You have to be very careful of what you put into your what you put in your like the kind of information that you take in. And that's why I'm very cautious of the information that I take in, the time that I spend. I don't really watch the news. I look for updates. I don't like being around negative people. I try to educate myself and get the facts. So that's how I think anyone who's trying to do anything, that's what they need to do. They need to become a better person and put out information for other people to be inspired by, in order for us to see a change in our community. Because there's people of different cultures that are doing this to help their people, but we're not doing that enough. I don't see that much. I don't see it as much in the Black community. Maybe I don't see it, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree with you, man. I think it starts with one. It starts with us. It starts with us teaching our kids to be better. The current leaders that we do have, that we consider leaders, that are celebrities or people of power in money, you're right. They're not. A lot of them are not doing a good job of uplifting their community. A lot of them start rubbing elbows with the white man, with the Jews, with those other people of power, right? Because the only color that seems to matter when you get rich is green. And then because you're out of that situation, because you're now financially stable, you kind of forget about the struggles that your community is going through, because you're not in it anymore. You're so far separated from it. And I think it's that old saying, you never forget where you come from. And I think they got to realize that.
Or if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything.
Exactly.
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 I like that.
And money and power can change people, man.
Oh, it
like,
does.
You know what I mean? It you know, and you see this all the time, right? Like, you know, they say, yeah, I can guarantee you those people in the hood and talking like, yeah, when I get out of this, I'm going to take care of you. And they get to that status and they're like, who? I don't even know you. They just forget about you, right? And it's sad. Again, as you mentioned before, they don't know where they're coming from, right? They forget completely.
Right. Well, and keep this in mind too. Once you have money and you start investing and you start having like financial advisors and stuff like that, usually those financial investors and advisors are not your color, right? So they're going to push the agenda of what they know, and what they know is to invest over here and forget about the ghetto, right?
Well,
so you know, like it's a catch-22 in that situation. But I do think, as you said, we got to stay woke. We got to remember where we came from, and like Andrea said, we got to stand for something. And right now in 2020, we really need to stand for each other, and not let another decade or millennium go by and us finding ourselves still at the bottom of the barrel. Because I'm sorry, we are still at the bottom of the barrel in 2020, right? So.
And what's sad is that we're
Denise?
so go on, just Andrea, sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that it saddens me because we have so much potential. We're so talented as people. It's, you know what I mean? We influence a lot of cultures, a lot. Like, you know what I mean? We've had people influence, like we're talking about, like, but regardless of what you think of them, regardless, Bob Marley, you know what I mean? You have people like Michael Jackson, regardless of what you think of him. We've had some very powerful, influential people in entertainment, media, whatever the case is. And it's just a show that, you know, back in the day, like even Michael Jackson, regardless of what you think of him, his concerts, women cried, women fainted. No one can touch him. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a powerful guy. So we have so much talent. And when I see what we have nothing to stand on, our foundation's weak, it saddens me because
even all those people, you know, that never did anything for like the community.
They didn't. It's the same thing, the point you made. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Why? And that's the question, why? Right? You have to ask yourself that question.
Like I look at Melbourne, and I mean I've lived in Melbourne for a long time, and I look at like even Chinese people that come here, and they put up community centers. Yeah. You know, and
you know what I mean?
And we they put up banks. We don't have that. They put up Pacific Mall.
Because we don't band together as a people.
Exactly.
And I think that has always been the problem. It's something that stems from way back, generations upon generations. They were having niggers fighting, excuse my language.
It's okay, it's unplugged.
They were fighting for survival.
Yeah.
You know, so this is something we have to know where we came from in order to know where we're going. And in order to do that, we need to band together as a people.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right when you say that. Like, it's been generations of us being put against each other. Because, you know, it's funny, growing up, you know, I'm considered to be Black. But when I grew up, I didn't deal with much racism. But I can say this, like, my memories are of my Black friends making fun of me because of my skin tone. You know, so, you know, I would be made fun of because I was lighter and trying to prove to my friends that I'm Black. And then after, I'd have white people look at me like, you know, she's Black. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't Black enough for my Black friends. And I was too Black for the white people.
Mm-hmm.
And that stems from slavery, because, you know, house nigga.
Yeah, paper bag.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
paper bag.
Exactly. And it's funny. Go on, Andrea.
No, I was just gonna hop on what Jessica was saying. I can relate to the complexion thing. Mm-hmm. For me, I've never had an issue with racism from the other half, the other side. I've had racism from my own people.
Yes.
Right? So when you talk about racism, I can't relate to and this is what Anthony was saying earlier in regards to some people can't see past the whole, you know, it's because I'm Black thing. That's because that's what's been happening to them all their life. Mm-hmm. Right? That's why they can't see past that. For me, it's never been about Black or white. I had somebody ask me the other day, how do I see myself as a Black woman? And this may shock you guys, but I just see myself as a woman in general. Mm-hmm. Black, white, you cut me, I'm gonna bleed. You know, my blood's the same color. It doesn't matter the complexion. It doesn't matter what I look on the outside. Mm-hmm. You know, what matters is what's on the inside and the type of person that I am. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like I said, I've never experienced racism from Caucasians, mm-hmm. Chinese, you know, they got their little thing going on. But you know what I mean? It's not that in-depth racism where they're driving behind you, trying to run you over. Or you may see the little subtle things of it
Of
where
course.
they give you money and they're putting it on the counter
Right.
instead of in your hand,
Mhm.
you know? But I think that's just the way they are raised, with no manners, but that's just me.
No brought ups, even,
Yeah,
no?
no, and I'm being honest. I just
Yeah.
think that's the way they were raised, right?
And
But
that's slavery too, right? Like,
yeah,
like when
cultural
you
differences.
yeah, when you look at white people who don't like black, it's what they were taught at home.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Big time, right? And it's funny you mentioned the complexion thing, because that's actually something I was going to talk about as well too. That, even within Black people, grew up in Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica during my teen years, right? And even hearing to say, oh, that dark skinned girl, she's no good, and the light skin, they always go for light skin, dark skin. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, my mom is dark skin, completely dark skin, right? My sister is fairer than me. She's like light pale, right? My niece is darker. Black people are so full of complexion, but yet, you know what I mean? Grow up in Jamaica, grow up some places, like we're attacking each other because of light skin, dark skin foolishness. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, why?
That's the beauty of being Black. We
But
have
that's
all
what I'm
shades.
saying, right? So you know
We
what I
have
mean?
all shades. Yeah, that's the beauty
when
of being Black.
exactly.
That's a condition.
Yeah, it's true.
I want to go back, and I don't really want to go way back into slavery, but when you look at like slaves and who was inside the house, it was the light skinned people that were inside the house Negroes, right? So
I would have liked to have been outside, though, honestly. I'm not really feeling
Same.
all of this.
Yeah.
I would like to have been outside.
But it's a conditioning that you saw that happening as slaves, and you started to like feel a ways about it, right?
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
treated a little bit differently, right? So it's a conditioning that we have to break ourselves out of, 100%. And again, going back to the answer, I don't even have the answer for that one. How do we break ourselves out of that? Because it's not just us. It's even Indian people.
Oh, they do, yeah.
They still have that caste system. As much as they want to deny it,
Yeah.
they still have
every race has a caste systems on the Black,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Every race. And I don't understand how. Yeah, we have always been the lower class, and it doesn't even matter. Generations upon generations upon generations, we've always been the last to look upon. I was reading something the other day that they have a hotline for Asians, a discrimination hotline.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Since this whole pandemic started.
Yes, I heard about it. But yet, in Africa, in China, the Africans were denied to go into, what was the story? They were denied to go into McDonald's or whatever the case is.
Yes,
right?
They're not,
and I'm like, wow,
allowed.
that's blatant racism right there. When I saw it, like, that is hardcore, straight. Back in the Rosa Parks days. Jesus.
Racism is racism. It doesn't matter if it's blatant or if it's,
I know.
In front of your face. It's still racism. And unfortunately, we as Black people, we need to stick together. We need to support each other. We need to just have each other's back. And that is something, once you divide, you can conquer. And they've been conquering because we've been divided.
And the problem is that when one of us have a difference of opinion, this is what happened even on my Instagram, and I've witnessed this. People have unfriended me and unfollowed me. They thought my opinion is so, you don't understand the Black struggle, you don't know what's going on. And I'm like, you don't even know where my stance are even spoken to me in face. They're like, I'm going to unfriend you. I'm like, yo, unfriend me. Who is you? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, are you my friend? Are you my close friend? Get out of here. You're social acquaintance. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, wow, you're a fellow Black person. I even helped you answer situations because of different opinion. You're going to drop me off now and just dash me away. You know what I mean? And it's sad. I looked at it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, there's very little support for each other.
And it was only the Black people. Only the Black people. Wasn't anybody else. Right? I was like, wow, interesting. And see, we're all here. We're friendly. We're not screaming, strangling each other, cussing each other out. We're sensible, right? That's how it should be.
That's how it should be, for sure.
Yeah.
So as we get to the conclusion of this, final thoughts, Jessica.
I just like I've been saying, I think we just need to come together and better ourselves as individuals, and that's the only way there's going to be change. You can't just think by doing a post is going to make a change. Like, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what am I doing to make this world a better place? I know it kind of sounds cliche, but you really have to think about it. What are you doing every day? What are you doing? If you really want to make changes, people who just walk around, they're still sleeping or they're already dead, but you need to figure out what have you been put on this planet to do? Because everybody has a purpose. Find your purpose, and that's where it starts. Because your purpose could be anything, but it can help someone. You know what I mean? And like, that's why you have to work on yourself, because it's the next generation that's going to be able to, if there is going to be a change, they're the ones that are going to do it.
All right, Anthony, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man. You know, personally, we just need to break free. You know what I mean? We need to break free from this chain and ball that's been on our legs for a long time. Like, you know what I mean? And it's something where we need to, you know, definitely work on ourselves first, right? As Jessica mentioned, you can't fix the world if again you're having troubles and yourself, or you don't have a clear understanding or confused yourself, right? How can a confused person lead someone else? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, your foundation's weak. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're just all over the place, and you know, so you got to make sure you're good first, and you know, be that role model, be that person who can inspire others to follow suit and make a difference and be a voice. You know, instead of feeling afraid to say something, don't be afraid. You know, fear, you can never achieve anything through fear, right? Anything at all. Whether you start a business, whatever. If you start a business, if you let fear control you, you'll never start it, right? So that's my thing.
Thank you. And Andrea, take us home. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts on all of this. We have to support each other. Bottom line. We have to support each other as Black people. We have to have each other's back in business, in sports, in politics, in family. We have to support each other. We have to have each other's back. I think that's the only way. Jessica did mention something that I wanted to just touch on. And she mentioned about the celebrities, you know, stating or talking about the shooting. Now, the fact that they spoke about it, that's something big. For them to not say anything, that would be very disappointing. But the fact that they are speaking up and they see it and they're saying something, that should be said for them. It should be said for all of us that say something, that see something going on, and say, even if we can't do anything, we say something and the information gets trickled down. Or just like the video we saw with Alexander Sterling, you know, he didn't want to post that video and he did, and I was watching it. You know, it was passed down to me. So I think we should continue to speak up as a people. We see injustice, we should continue to say something, and not sweep it under the rug and hope that it's going to go away like this virus. Right?
Thank you.
Welcome.
So guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this chat. My mission for this is to get everybody together, and if you guys can spread the word that we can have these conversations, because I think these conversations need to be had, and on a deeper and deep thought level, because I think a lot of times we're so surfaced, we're still stuck on that surface level that we haven't even scratched the surface because we haven't tried. Right? So if we're going to get the answers to solve a lot of this oppression from Black people and from other races, we have to, like you said, band together. So thank you for joining me on Life Stripes Unplugged. And until next time,
thank you.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for having me.